I'm out here in the English countryside with a man who I literally just met, and who is already one of the most fascinating guys who I know, Miles Irving, author of the Forager Handbook. We've just finished foraging. You've guided us through the countryside, gathering these edible plants. Where did you learn how to walk and bend down and pick up a dozen different varieties of plants and identify them and eat them and teach people how to do it?
I just started with a few plants a few years ago. I just had one book that had, it was 15 or 20 plants by an Italian chef, and we worked our way through all of the plants that were in that book, and that's kind of what got me started.
Did you know this chef? I mean,
Antonio Coluccio is a world-renowned chef, or at least an England-renowned chef. The beauty of his book was the simplicity of the recipe. So once we'd found each plant, he would give us this gorgeous kind of salad or a very simple soup. And I think it was a very exciting quest to go out there and try and find wild sorrel for the first time or something like that. But the satisfaction that we had from bringing it home and being able to turn it into something that was so delicious and so satisfying, it kind of made the whole experience self-reinforcing. So in other words, we thought, what can we learn next? And from
before that, what would a typical salad look like for you before that? Like if you were to go out and make a salad,
the usual inane things that you can buy from a supermarket.
And this has changed anything.
But when you say the inane things you could buy from a supermarket, most people will go to the produce section of a supermarket and think that's a pretty healthy thing to do.
It's true.
What are the issues? What are the problems with some of the things in the produce section?
I think one of the big issues is that we have accidentally selectively bred the nutrition out of these things. What we're concerned about is to reduce the intensity of the flavors and perhaps make there be more sweetness, possibly less fiber. And at the same time, these qualities that we ought to be embracing, some of them are bitter flavors, some of them are just intensity. Those are often being supplied by things that are super nutritious and good for us.
Do you think this is why we have to drench our salads now in ranch and Caesar and blue cheese?
In order to put some flavor in there, because otherwise, people might notice that this stuff doesn't taste of anything.
Well, when we were walking just 10 minutes ago out in the field, you picked wild lettuce. You handed me a leaf of wild lettuce and you had me taste it, and my mouth exploded with flavor from this wild lettuce. Now, normally when you have lettuce in the grocery store, I think the word you used to describe it was it's just there for carrying water.
It's a clever way to market water. Put it inside a lettuce leaf, and then people will pay a lot of money for water.
So we're disconnected with the way that plants actually should taste.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I should have said two things there. We've selectively bred nutrition out. We have also selectively bred flavor out. And one of the things I was saying earlier is that people that are involved in marketing food, they do seem to be appealing to the sort of base level of people's appetites and cravings for things that are not actually that good, so you just end up putting more sugar in or removing anything that would conceal the sugar. So people, for example, extract bitter compounds out of orange juice so that you can taste more sweetness. It turns out that the bitter compound they're taking out is actually an anti-carcinogen.
And you get a calorie density, it sounds like, instead of the nutrient density that you're going after with these wild foods that you're foraging.
Absolutely. I mean, I hasten to add, this wasn't my starting point. My starting point was how fascinating that there's something out there in the wild. It's not even hidden. It's just because we didn't notice it. And it's like a marvelous treasure hunt. I mean, I felt like a little kid when I was exploring this stuff.
But you live out here on a farm. I mean, people watching you and I talk, they might not live on a farm. They might not have a bunch of acreage.
Sure.
What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, I can't really speak for every part of the planet, but traveling out to London, there are green spaces in London where wild plants are growing through. In spite of the fact that it's the middle of the city, you've got a great diversity of wild plants in parks, even in people's gardens, even through the cracks in the pavement. I mean, you might not want to gather from there.
In the trash heaps, there's dandelions everywhere. People are moving those from their gardens, and you talked a little bit about dandelions today.
Yeah, I mean, the point is just that there's this really incorrect value system. So we prize and value these tasteless, lifeless salads from a supermarket, and we actually end up despising some of the wild plants and calling them weeds, and actually focusing a lot of energy on pulling them out and getting rid of them. And often the same people that are trying to get rid of those weeds are trying to grow a lettuce leaf or something like that, not realizing that the thing they're fighting against is not only beneficial, but it's so full of vigor that it will grow anyway, without any help. And then they're busy trying to get this lettuce leaf to grow, which has no flavor and has no nutrition. It's all kind of backwards, and it's basically it's a very good illustration of the fact that we're trying to work against the natural system to our own hurt or detriment, whereas if we worked with this natural system, we would be benefited.
So it sounds to me like
and it's less work. That's the point.
People may not realize it, but even if they don't think they have a garden, they actually have a garden. It's just that we've been misled to believe that most of these things growing in our backyard should be thrown away.
Yeah.
When in fact that's where the nutrient density resides. It sounds like you've also hinted at the fact that we've almost had this bred out of our palates, this ability to appreciate the wild, antioxidant, almost bitter taste of a good plant.
I think it's like we've been doped with sugar, that appetite for sugar. We now can't tolerate anything unless there's some sweetness there, and there's these whole nuances of bitterness. The other one is that most people are a bit frightened of is astringency. This sensation that you get with drinking tea or red wine and things like that. There's a lot of that in the wild plants, and the sharp flavors, and just some of the more intense aromatic flavors. I mean, the way I like to look at it is it's making your palate grow up a little bit, because kids want sweets, but the trouble is grown-ups essentially want sweets these days because of this relentless kind of persuasive influence of more and more sugar going into food.
In a fat, sick, and unhealthy culture, I would say that we need more of that.
Yeah.
The salads that I've eaten since I've been hanging out with you have been incredibly fulfilling, despite their lack of huge amounts of dressing and candied walnuts and goat cheese and everything else that we find thrown on our salads to make them taste good. Now, if people are watching this and they want to start, but they don't want to say poison themselves by grabbing something, the incorrect item or the incorrect plant, you've written a book, obviously. It's a big book. It might take a little while to read, but if someone just wants a few quick tips, where do they start if they want to begin foraging their own wild plant foods in the world around them?
Well, I think one of the easiest plants to recognize is probably the stinging nettle.
Stinging nettle.
The stinging nettle, which if you have stinging nettles in your region, I certainly don't have to explain why it's easy to recognize, because it stings your hand. Everybody knows what a nettle is. So, I think it's very important to be able to accurately recognize a plant. So there's one that we all can recognize. And stinging nettles, they can be used just like spinach.
And they're all over the world.
I actually can't vouch for that, but I'm certain they're in
North America.
Well, I've seen them all over here, and I know they're all over back at my home in Washington State, so there's at least 2 places.
I know there are species of them in the Himalayas, all across Europe. You'll know if you've got stinging nettles near you.
And dandelions, you've already mentioned those. If you were to name one other, besides stinging nettle and dandelion, that someone could just go out and experiment with.
I think probably if we just...
Here we go. Here's what I'm talking about. You can just bend down and pick something up.
So right in front of us we have a plantain here. And we're just... Okay, maybe I've got a bigger one that's better for the camera. So we're just looking at things that are easily recognizable. So if everyone's confident that they can identify a dandelion, that's a fairly safe one. There aren't any, at least, forgive me, worldwide people, but in England there certainly is nothing that resembles a dandelion in terms of the flower that you could make a mistake with. I can't say that there's nowhere, anywhere on the planet like that, so check your own local area. But that's the point with dandelions and nettles, easily recognizable. And this one is also easily recognizable. If we stick to a habitat, so we're saying an open area amongst grass, this is very distinctive because very few leaves have this vein pattern here. You see that these veins here are, they're coming straight up, whereas most leaves you'll find they actually branch out from the middle.
Right.
So that's plantain. I mean, I would emphasize you still need to do your homework and really confirm the identification of anything that you're eating.
And so this is something you can eat.
This is certainly something you can eat. It's got a delicious kind of mushroom flavour. There's quite strong fibres here, so you do actually need to cut this finely in order to overcome the fibre factor there. But it will go through a salad, a nice crunchy salad, a kind of coleslaw type thing. You could add it in. And the great thing is you can work your way in gently. Dandelion is quite bitter. This is a little bitter, but you can acclimatise your palate to that sort of thing by just adding a small amount. So for example, with a dandelion, the way I'd say to get used to that one is just grate some carrots, grate some beetroot, add a bit of dandelion. Once you got used to it, add a bit more, you know, and you're gonna find that you start to really enjoy those bitter notes coming through.
So dandelion, nettle, plantain, the list goes on and on. The book that Miles wrote is the Forager Handbook, a guide to the edible plants of Britain by Miles Irving. And cheers.
Okay.
I'll eat to that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ben.